Thank you very much for the introduction. The purpose of this presentation is to support and maintain our facilitator base. I will start with a brief presentation of the background to the EPIQ workshop. We've been conducting workshops for almost 20 years in Canada and around the world. Although the Canadian Neonatal Network started its standardized database in 1995, it was not until 2003 that we formed our Quality Improvement Collaborative, training frontline teams in quality improvement methodology. Hundreds of interprofessional team members and parents have been trained at annual meetings of the Canadian Neonatal Network over this last 18 years. The content of these workshops was collated, and this has formed the foundation for the current EPIQ workshop. In 2013, the University of Alberta started a maternal newborn child project in over 40 sites in Ethiopia. This was the first extensive use of the EPIQ workshop in its current stepwise format, training approximately 200 healthcare providers to do real-life quality improvement projects. In 2017, the Canadian Neonatal Network and University of Alberta partnered to develop the current 10-step format, which was delivered to over 600 students and faculty over 2 years. In 2019, the parent EPIQ project of the Canadian Neonatal Follow-up Network, a sister network of the Canadian Neonatal Network, requested a virtual workshop from the university. This was developed that summer and delivered in September 2019, well before the pandemic forced us into online learning. We have conducted over 70 workshops with hundreds of participants worldwide since that time. In 2021, the Canadian Neonatal Foundation, a newly registered charity, took over ownership of the workshop. Their future directions include using the EPIQ workshop to improve care worldwide. In order to achieve this, we need to build our facilitator capacity and empower institutions to engage quality improvement teams. You, our EPIQ facilitators, co-facilitators, and quality improvement champions are our most valuable resource. Our goal is to nurture and grow this resource. Much of what I am presenting today can be found at the EPIQ FAQ website at the University of Alberta. This QR code or a quick search will lead you there. I have 3 goals for this presentation. By the end of this session, you will be able to describe how to become an EPIQ facilitator, how to host a workshop, and how to start a quality improvement process in your facility or network. Your first step to becoming a facilitator is to identify an experienced facilitator or master facilitator or a workshop that is being conducted by an experienced facilitator. The role of a facilitator is to guide workshop participants and quality improvement teams through the 10 steps of the EPIQ workshop. We do not expect facilitators to be quality improvement experts, but they will be expected to seek out quality improvement resources when required. The first step in your EPIQ journey will be to take an EPIQ workshop and absorb the content. Your next step would be to co-facilitate an EPIQ workshop as a co-facilitator with an experienced EPIQ facilitator. You should be prepared to both share content and facilitate learning. Finally, with the support of your EPIQ lead or master facilitator, you should be able to plan, conduct, and debrief a workshop successfully. At this time, a master facilitator may register you with the Office of Lifelong Learning as a facilitator. You will now be able to conduct workshops independently. As you can see, an EPIQ participant must take at least 2 and sometimes 3 or more EPIQ workshops before conducting a workshop independently. The decision is based both on the co-facilitator's comfort and ability and that of their mentor or preceptor. There are 2 options for hosting an EPIQ workshop. Firstly, you may host a workshop yourself using your own facilitators, coordinator, and web conferencing software. In this case, you may purchase single-use licenses from the University of Alberta site. Secondly, you may request that the University of Alberta identify facilitators and host a workshop on your behalf. Make this request online to the University of Alberta Office of Lifelong Learning. Either way, you will need to register your intent online. A quick search or the QR code will take you to the web page. Your first step is to decide on the type of offering your learners need. Is it a 4-hour workshop to provide quality improvement literacy, or is it a 6-hour workshop for facilitator training or for real-life quality improvement project? Or even a 20-hour course that supports a quality improvement team from before and after the workshop. The next question is who will host the workshop? Once you have registered your intent, follow the QR code to find a checklist, blank roster, and sample agenda. Your institution coordinator, participants, co-facilitators, and facilitators and their professions and their email addresses should be entered on the roster. Your agenda will clarify the date, time zone, location, and format of the workshop, whether physical or virtual. As the EPIQ workshop is modular, it can be conducted at 1, 2, or 3 settings in 2 or 3-hour blocks. An important and often missed step is planning for post-workshop follow-up. We have identified from workshop evaluations that pre- and post-workshop planning are a challenge. eClass External is the University of Alberta's learning management system. It is another aspect of the EPIQ workshop that receives negative comments in our evaluations, largely because of its complexity. Although your participants are not University of Alberta students, they are obliged to manage their usernames, passwords, and course access with the appropriate privacy and security steps. As a result, there is some complexity in registration as an eClass external student, and passwords and usernames require validation. Once validated, the participant can then enter the course enrollment key to access the specific virtual classroom dedicated to that specific workshop on that specific day. The advantage of dedicated classes is that the content can be modified to meet the needs of that specific audience. Facilitators and co-facilitators have additional options for accessing facilitator materials that will not be seen by the participants. eClass External will also give you access to the agenda, workshop tools, an MCQ assessment, and the online workshop evaluation. The evaluation results will be available 2 or 3 days after the workshop. I'd like to spend some time on pre- and post-workshop activities, in particular how to engage a quality improvement team, conduct a project, or bring teams together. The EPIQ quality improvement cycle is a useful guide to the steps needed to facilitate quality improvement activity. As you recall, one can enter the cycle at any point. For example, if asked to support a QI team, one may choose the following path. Ask for local data. Consider an evidence review. Identify your champions and consolidate teamwork. Determine your choice of best practices or actions. Engage important stakeholders, particularly administrators. Follow the EPIQ 10 steps and act on your aim and change forms. Some institutions or facilities have chosen to bring multiple quality improvement teams together to form a network or a collaborative. The EPIQ QI cycle principles of information, collaboration, and implementation still apply. Over 20 years, we have identified 5 activities that support the Canadian Neonatal Network's National QI Collaborative. These apply to any network of quality improvement teams. Firstly, create a dashboard of standard indicators. Secondly, form a network. Thirdly, agree on best practices. Fourthly, develop quality improvement literacy. This is where the EPIQ workshop comes in. And finally, create a regular forum for sharing successes and challenges. I believe it is these 5 activities that have resulted in sustained improvements in the outcomes of preterm babies in Canada over the last 2 decades. Consider them when you want to grow your quality improvement programs. I hope that you found this presentation helpful. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to contact me or the Office of Lifelong Learning. If you wish to host a workshop in your facility, we may be able to help you or put you in touch with experienced facilitators. I want to thank my colleagues at the Office of Lifelong Learning, in particular Karen Hunter, Rose Young, Andrea de Villa Cervantes, and Jessica Cohen, who have worked so hard behind the scenes in organizing this webinar. Thanks again.